Hello there, and welcome to The Woman Within, a podcast for the woman you are beneath all the roles. I'm your host, Nicole.
And I'm your co-host, Sarah. We invite you to slow down, tune in, and make some much-deserved space for yourself as you listen and reflect on today's episode.
If today's conversation speaks to you, we'd love to stay connected. Join our mailing list for updates and future offerings. You can find the link in the show notes below.
And one more small ask to help us grow. If you think this episode would resonate with someone you know, please share. Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Should we be posting our kids online?
Big one. Big topic, and one that's front and center for me. And I'm excited to dive into, hear your thoughts on it, and also get the thoughts of our listeners. So let's do it.
Let's do it. I feel like a good place to start with this conversation might be the fact that you made a change on social media with not choosing not to show your daughter's face anymore. And we just talked about it. You gave me more information this past week. And so, yeah, I think it would be maybe a good place to start with just you having that change, and how that decision came through and what were the factors for you. And then maybe we can talk about some other
broad
points
strokes
from there. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I made a post maybe like 2 weeks ago that I was going to be no longer posting Raya's face on social media. And context for those who are listening who maybe have found us recently, I have been online for almost 15 years now. And through my journey, my life journey, I've done modeling, fitness, built businesses, disappeared, came back. And so the following that I've amassed has been gathered throughout all those phases. And so this isn't just like I have a private page and it's with my family and friends and I'm posting my child online. It's like, this is my public page that has been my public persona, which my public persona is pretty much just who I am at the moment. Like it's not like I am overly performative, but
and just for more context, you at a point had 1 million followers.
Yeah.
A huge audience.
Yeah. It was, at one point, 1.5 million. And then once I stopped modeling, a lot of people, and then I built a brand for women. And so a lot of my male following was like, okay, this isn't relevant to me anymore, and unfollowed. And I'm grateful for that. Right.
Yeah.
But the truth is that there's still a large number of men who follow me from that era. And some of them are great. Some of them have evolved alongside, and some of them are not. Some of them did not. And so, yeah, from that perspective, being a quote unquote creator / influencer, I've always shared my creations with the world through that page, and myself, and an authentic expression of who I am and what's important to me at that time. And identity, it's like, I'm into fitness, and now I'm into personal growth, and now I'm into spirituality, and now I'm into, and now I'm a mom. And so it just feels natural and good for me to share and use that as an outlet as I'm exploring motherhood. And I posted something like maybe when she was 6 months old, where I was like, moms, like, what are we doing with sharing our kids on social media? Like, are you doing it? Are you deciding not to do it? And there was a conversation, and, it's a polarizing topic, and it was a polarizing conversation, respectfully. But I decided that I was going to continue posting her. And I don't know, there was part of me that was kind of, I'm going to say, ignorant and somewhat in denial about the realities of what's going on, we'll call it the dark web, just the dark side of the internet, the dark side of humanity. around children and um, pornography. And I suppose this is a good moment to say trigger warning. This might be a triggering conversation for people. I've always kind of had this awareness that I somewhat turn a blind eye sometimes to the atrocities of the world, the atrocities of humankind. And in some ways it is a conscious choice, because I don't believe that I can fix the atrocities of the world by getting swept up in the vibration of it. And so until I have the time, energy, and resources to actually do something about something, I almost feel like overconsumption um, doesn't serve me, doesn't serve anyone. That's my belief. And I know some people wholeheartedly disagree with that. And I also think that different causes need different types of people involved in different types of ways. So for some people, going and like picketing and, going and marching is the way. Other people, it's not, right? So, but anyways, I know that there's pedophiles in the world. I know that there's people who consume child pornography, and, there's like this new thing about deep fakes and AI generated porn. And I just sort of decided, like, my intention for posting Raya is so pure that I'm just going to believe in that. And I'm just going to keep doing it. I haven't had any weirdo, like, if I get a weird vibe, fine, I'll, readjust. And so I just shared her. And then there was like a point where I started to get brand deals again and decided I'm going to start limiting her, because this page is generating money and I don't want her to be part of the reason why I'm making money. It just felt like out of alignment with my values. And so started limiting her mostly to my stories and not much. And then this whole situation with Jeffrey Epstein came out. And I mean, that, like, if you're online, you couldn't not see it. And the way that I got swept up into the vibration of that is exactly what I was saying before. Like, I just got paranoid. I was having crazy intrusive thoughts. It was like the awareness that I think ultimately was good. I think I needed to kind of be shaken into my denial or my naivety, and to actually like see, some of those things, and how you can be out at the grocery store and someone, a man or a woman, could comment on your child and actually have impure intentions in their body
Mm-hmm.
and their mind. And yeah, it shook me to the point that I was like, she's so precious to me, and that's why I want to share her. And she's so precious to me that I'm not going to share her.
Mm-hmm.
I have to protect her, and like, if I'm honest with myself, the reason I was sharing her was selfish, and not, selfish, and that it was a decision I made for myself because I was proud of her. I wanted solidarity with other moms who had children like her, or were facing challenges in motherhood like me, or had early walkers and early talkers. Like, you want to find your tribe around what you're experiencing. And there was nothing about me posting her that contributed positively to her life. And I had to be honest with myself about that. And also, when we're assessing something like this, which I know we're going to get into, but like, we as parents have to weigh, does how it benefits me like over outweigh the risk that it potentially poses to my child? And as a parent, like, I have to protect my child. And so, yeah. And, again, the context of like, I have people who followed me for my body, and now I have a child who's a beautiful young girl. And I don't know what the fuck those people are thinking, and, what they're into. And I just seen crazy shit at this point. I mean, you see crazy shit, the grooming and, and so I made the decision. And honestly, it's detangled me a lot from social media. I feel like I was on social media a lot more, and now I'm like a lot more present with her. And so, yeah, it's been like a good um, culture shift in our family as a whole. And so, yeah, that's the story. But I'd love to hear from you. Do you share Theo? Because I know your page is private.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I have one question. Did you
yeah,
go back and delete everything that you just kept what you
yeah.
had and then you're just moving forward, not okay.
Yes. And right now, I'm just not showing her face.
Yeah.
So, like, I've, like, posted a story of her walking down the because
Mhm.
I don't know, some people are like, "Don't show her at all, don't even talk about her." And I feel like that's veering for me into more fear-based rather than, like, conscious, discerning parenting.
Right.
And I get it, especially if you've been a victim of,
Yeah.
you know, assault or abuse, or your child has. Like, I understand the overcorrection. What I see as an overcorrection, it could be completely valid for some people, but um, once something's on the internet, it's public property,
Yeah.
and those pictures are already there. Those pictures, even if I delete them, they're there. There's if someone wanted them, they have them.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah,
Well, it's great to hear that. I think it's just it's your self-awareness around it is beautiful to witness because you spoke to it perfectly. Like your desire to post her was because you're proud of her. And I think that resonates with every parent who posts their kid.
for sure.
That's why they do it, because it's like my kid is great and I want to share that. And I think everybody's intentions are pure.
Yeah.
But it's like with your status online, um, I think there's definitely a slightly different
Yeah.
weight to it for sure.
Totally.
But yeah, and just seeing and just you being able to be like, what is this actually serving Rhea?
Right.
And to put that into context too, because that's the big question I think for a lot of us is, of course, we're doing it from a place of love and we're so proud and we want to show off our kid and whatever. But when they grow up, how is that actually going to affect them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then what is that doing for them in terms of protection? And so it was just really cool to hear that came through for you and how it came through for you. And ultimately that it's bringing you into more presence in a more compartmentalized relationship with your social media account, which
Yeah.
is an extension of you.
Yeah.
And also a it's now becoming more of a business. Again, it's still both for sure, but working with brand deals, and so
And here,
separating those things. Yeah. And our podcast.
in our podcast,
Totally.
what this will become.
Yep.
And that's one question we were throwing back and forth in preparation for this conversation was, what's more intimate?
Hmm.
Well, there's the question of intimacy versus safety.
Right.
Is it safer to tell stories about our children and intimate details about their potty training and their breastfeeding and their sleep? It's intimate,
Hmm.
but maybe not dangerous, versus posting photos of the inside of our house and what car we drive and where we live and their faces.
Yeah.
It's less, well, it is intimate, but it's probably like more a safety
Yeah.
issue. So like deciding where those lines are, and they can be fluid and also different for each person.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear from you where you are landing with this topic.
I know. That's a great question. I don't know where I'm landing, to be honest. I feel like, but I'm going to need to because, I asked Travis, my husband, what his thoughts were, and I'm not going to get into what his thoughts were, but he's like, Sarah, you're starting a podcast, like you're getting into the digital world, whether you make your account on Instagram public or private, like you're gonna enter this in a more intentional way just by association. Even though this is talking and social media posting is different, but like you were just talking about right now, we are still sharing intimate stories about our children on here. But where with me with social media, my account has just been I think like most people in the world, just how you connect with your friends and family and people in your life. And my account was private for a long time. I'm not active on Facebook anymore either. Are you? No, I know.
I
I
mean,
post.
everything from my Instagram post to my Facebook,
Oh, it
but
does?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But anyways, and then when Travis and I opened our business, at some point I made my account public because I was like, not necessarily specifically trying to grow my page for anything in particular, but I was sort of in that mindset of gaining more followers. And I did host one retreat. And then once I became a mother, at some point in that first year of motherhood, I did make my account private again because I was sharing more about Theo. And so I have posted him on my social media. I've posted, both stories and posts, reels, and things like that. His first birthday, and I actually before I came over, I looked. I was like, what have I posted? Is there anything like that I feel like I shouldn't have posted?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so feels different for me right now in this moment because as we're recording this podcast, we haven't launched yet. And so a lot of like what we're doing right now with this podcast doesn't even feel real yet to me because I'm like, nobody's actually listened to any of our conversations yet. And so I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know where I land in this. But what I will say is I resonated with what you said about I can feel it before I would even get there of getting swept up into constantly overthinking. Is this too much? Is this, should I post this? Should I not? Should I say this? Should I not say that? And getting into that place of anxiety around how to do it right. And so for me, it's like, I don't want to slip into that fear mindset either and like be so consumed by that being what I'm thinking about when I'm talking and posting constantly. But it's definitely easy for me to not post Theo on social media, so it doesn't feel like a need of mine to share him. But on the podcast, I do feel like because he's such an integral part of who I am and my life and what's happening, it's hard not to talk about him.
Totally.
And so in that way, I'm like, I don't know what's better or worse. I know that when I am able to process and share, it makes me a better mom.
Yeah.
And also, maybe he doesn't want me talking about his potty training by the time he's 7. But yeah, so there's a lot of points that I'm like, I can see it both ways.
Oh,
and
totally.
I think that's what's confusing for me.
Absolutely.
Is I can see both ends of the spectrum. And yeah, I feel like over the next several months and maybe over the next year, it will definitely force me to get more clear on exactly what that looks like.
Yeah, I guess I'll just piggyback on what you're shared, just because one thing I did forget to bring into my story about what led me to the decision is that my girlfriend Claudia was here, and she just like one night that she was here pulled me aside and was like, I need to talk to you about something. And I'm like, okay. She's like, I've been waiting to talk to you about it in person because I get sensitive. And, she's a therapist. So she's like,
navigates it with
thoughtfulness. Exactly.
And,
the most thoughtfulness. And she's just like point blank. She just came out and said, I don't think you should be posting right on social media anymore. And what it triggered resonance within me, my higher self knew that she was right. And so I'll just reflect back to you, like, my revelations don't seem to be resonating with you with the same level of certainty. And that's okay. Like, every situation is different. And also I'll say that Ray is a girl and Theo's a boy. And there is that layer in terms of child safety. There are people that, predators that target boys. it is more prevalent with girls. So, I think that's another layer. And I just love that you got to the point of, it makes me a better mother to share and process. And where I came after our little back and forth voice notes about this is that if my experience as a mother, this is to share our experience as women and mothers. And if we need to add details about our children to contextualize our stories, I think that's perfectly fine. I think, there's a difference between adding context to what we're sharing to serve the collective and our community versus
just
unnecessarily sharing,
telling stories about for no reason,
about their personal information. And I think there's going to be a moment where our families sit down with our children and say, this is what mommy does. And part of what mommy does involves sharing details about you. And at a certain point, if Rhea is uncomfortable with that, I will respect that boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to help facilitate her owning her own stories and her own life and her own body. And, we're taking liberties. And this is new terrain, like this is only something that people have had to confront and think about in the past since 1999 when did the internet come out? Whatever the fuck, whatever. It's been like
the 2000s are the most prevalent though, probably for
social media,
like
right?
online, social media.
So like mid 2000s. So it's been 20 years of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't know what the long-term effects of this are.
Our parents didn't have to figure that out.
Totally. Yeah. So
we're the generation.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out and we're going to try to do as consciously as possible. And also, like, these conversations have become lifeblood for me. And I know for you too. And like a huge part of us showing up more whole for our families. And so it's kind of like, it's do the benefits for mom and dad like outweigh the risks? And in this format, for me, like I'm okay with continuing to share, contextually. So yeah. Sounds like we're pretty aligned in that.
Yeah. I feel like we are too. And you brought up a good point of like, there's multiple things that we're talking about, protecting, thinking about with this topic of posting our kids or telling their stories or not. One of them is without consent, right? Like you're talking about. We were just doing it because they don't have any ability to say yes or no. They have no way of understanding. So there's like that one piece of, they don't, we have to decide for them basically until they're of age and you can have that conversation, which I think is so great and beautiful to foreshadow that and knowing that that's going to be something you do consciously. And then the other thing is the protection of like keeping them protected from people with bad intentions, whether it's like identity theft or pedophiles, and going down more along those lines. And so there's so many different things that it's not just like, it's a lot to sit with, is basically what I'm saying. Like there's so many angles of like, do the benefits outweigh the risks? And like, it's just a lot to wrap your head around, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's interesting. You said when she comes of age, and I was like, ooh,
when is that?
When is that? Right? Because like, it won't be when she's 18, right? Because that's what we think of when we say come of age. Like, it's like when I determine she's like of sound mind enough. And Rhea's a performer. I mean, Rhea's like, so it's going to be interesting to see when that piece comes online of, and I've posted content with her before where like I'm trying on a pair of jeans and she's like, cheese, cheese. And she's just like,
used to it.
yeah. She's like,
Yeah.
okay, so hi guys. And I'm like, oh wow, that's what I'm modeling for her as well. Which that's where I feel like it's shifted the culture in our family because I've had to look at myself and had the hard conversation with myself of like, what am I really modeling for her? And, we talk about, food and sleep as like these two major pillars of like parenting. But social media and just media and technology is a pillar that parents of the past 20 years have had to contend with that we just don't even know. Like we're still contending with like our own addictions around it and our own, being swept up into it. And so, yeah, it was just something where I was noticing how I was modeling for her and she was like becoming like a little influencer. And I'm like, no, actually, no, that's not really what I want to,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That's another good thought. I hadn't really that hasn't come into my awareness yet is how we choose to interact with social media is modeling to them how to interact with social media. And so you can differentiate and say, I don't want my kid to be on social media. And so you're probably not online at all, or, pretty strict with your boundaries around it.
Yeah.
But I think both you and I are, by this podcast, we're going to be on social media and online. But still, nonetheless, we enjoy it. It's part of our lives. You know what I mean? And so in a way, there's an opportunity to model a healthy relationship to social media.
Yes.
In a way to model the discernment of what you post and what you don't post.
Absolutely. And also like when you're consuming and
yeah. And creating content.
Yeah.
And yeah. So it's actually could be a really great way to teach them a skill of social, because I think the generation, like our generation, and what's the generation that's like Gen X and maybe Gen X or
older or younger?
Younger.
Gen Z.
Where social media is destroying teenagers' lives and like cyberbullying, because I think those parents didn't have any idea what the hell was gonna unravel with social media. And, our kids, I think, are young enough and we're aware of those things enough to where we actually have an opportunity that those parents didn't.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like,
so
it's
true.
not their fault at all.
Yeah.
You can't know. But, yeah, so that's another
layer. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there are any other layers. Actually, why don't you take it away?
So, just with the statistics, because I was curious, like, what was your assumption? What was your thought about people sharing? Did you think it was like 50-50 or?
I thought it was a little bit more polar. Yeah. I thought that it was something
like half people don't share their kid and half people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 75% of parents post about their kids online, which is more than half. And 68% regularly share photos and videos. And on average, parents share about 300 photos of their children per year.
Crazy.
Online.
I will.
And that's normal.
Yeah. And that's normalized, right? I will say, we should have done a search on like, there's a video of Tim Tebow. taking this in another direction, but there's a video of Tim Tebow meeting with, I think, Congress and showing a map of how many people, like individual IP addresses all over the country that are actively streaming child pornography. And he's just like, and like the purple ones are like, they're all green. And then the purple ones are the ones that are actively being investigated. And there's like 5. There's just like not enough resources to address that. And these are people living in our neighborhoods. Like, and you just see those types of things and you're just like, So yeah, I guess like what I'm saying in response to that is I also wonder like how many pedophiles live in this, and yeah, I'm kind of harping on the pedo thing. It's having a little girl and like you start to notice how many men comment on how cute and how pretty your little girl is. And it's just like, And my dad says she's cute and pretty, and Ryan says she's cute and pretty. And Travis says that Rhea's cute and pretty. So I know it's not all men have impure thoughts, but you just start to get like prickly about it and on edge, about it. So yeah, it's just interesting, like how we all collectively, 75% of adults post their kids online. That's 3/4. That's the majority.
Yeah, it's the majority of people. Yeah. Well, and again, I think what I said just a second ago about the fact that we're just at a point where we don't know. In these conversations and like this awareness around, like the Epstein file things, sexual predators, and just wanting to protect who they are and their digital footprint, right? So they can have their liberty over that.
That's another point we didn't talk about, but go ahead.
Well, sort of, but not specifically. Yeah. Is we're just like, we're meeting it head on right now. We're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, it's like an actively, but like the awareness is happening right now.
Yeah. Moms having babies probably in the past 10 years, I'd say. I don't even know, but probably in the past 10 years are the ones who've been like, I'm not going to post my kid's face on social media. I mean, I have friends in my sphere that are like, I'm not posting my kid's face on social media. I think it also depends on where you live too. And like what's, I don't know. Politics play into that for sure. But
I actually don't know if politics does.
You don't think so? I mean, yeah, I guess maybe not.
I just feel like I've seen people, I don't know.
Like on both sides.
On both sides that both leverage their children and I'm thinking about it from like a branding, personal branding, because that's the world that I live in and the lens I'm looking at it from. I see people who are both sides of the political fence.
Yeah.
Both leveraging their children for their brand and both part of their brand is protecting their children's identity. It's both. So
yeah,
I think it has to do with an awareness and either an awareness or a denial about the reality of dangers in the world. And like, for example, Haley and Justin Bieber, who they don't post their children. They're like doing everything they can to protect because he knows about the darkness in the world and the media or Hollywood and all that. Yeah, but then you look at the Kardashians and they post their children online and they use their children for their personal brand. So it's like,
that's a good point.
There's both. And I think it's like, I think it's what you've been through and also like maybe what your lineage has been through,
Yeah.
I mean, trauma is passed down. So there are things that like I've never been a victim of like violent sexual abuse. But when I hear about violent sexual abuse, it affects me in a way that I'm like, this is definitely in my lineage. And oh my God, it's in every woman's lineage. It really is in every woman's lineage. I mean, the sexual abuse is so prevalent still to this day.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a little bit curious about, we've never talked about your modeling past specifically, just for context, even just for me, like what kind of modeling were you doing? What type of, just even so I can get an understanding of like what it can look like online when there's creepy men and stuff like that. What type of modeling were you doing?
Oh my God. Okay. So you have no context at all?
No, I didn't look, but by the way, I never looked at your page when I met you for like forever.
Yeah.
And they're like, Travis like, she has like 1 million followers. I'm like, so I want to meet her in person.
We're going to be besties.
That means nothing to me. But yeah,
thanks for that.
Never went and creeped on your page.
Thanks for that.
And so I'm like, I would love to just hear. I think it's relevant too for this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, some beauty stuff, some more like artistic, expressive stuff, but mostly, like, they called it Instagram modeling, but it was like bikini, lingerie, like more sexy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was attracting. That's what I was calling in, And it was a powerful, beautiful, expansive time in my life. I wouldn't take it back for anything in the world. I loved it, you know, and I like, maybe I should just like book a photographer and just like do that again. Like, it's such a empowering place for me to be. I feel like it's probably similar to you dancing, or like just getting in front of the camera and like being on like that and expressing with my face and moving to music with my body. Like, it was such a cool chapter. And then it brought in so much abundance of community and opportunity and abundance with, you know, my businesses and finance, and was able to like actually leverage all of that to build a business and impact women in a real way that I still hear about today, you know? And I'm sure there are people listening to this episode right now who fit and thick for life, baby.
Yeah, I've heard,
You know,
I've
and
heard it.
fit and thick came from modeling, because
Yeah.
modeling was like when I started modeling, and it was like being a curvy woman with thick legs and no boobs, little boobs, in a time where we were just exiting the Barbie look being the ideal of beauty standard. And this was like the start of the era of like, actually thick is beautiful and thick thighs were beautiful, and like the Latin body type had its moment. And now what's cool is that there's all types of beautiful, and you can find your body goals all over the place and different types of, you know, I feel like there's not like one style anymore, or
It's
like
not
one
just
look that's
Victoria's
beautiful.
Secret model. It's
Exactly.
like the Ari brand from American Eagle. I remember
Yes.
they were one of the first to like not Photoshop their models.
Yeah, it's totally. And they started a movement, and
Yeah.
that's like, you know, Target does that now, and a bunch of
Mhm.
other brands. But, so being just, you know, owning my body and sharing it led to a lot of like hate,
Mm.
but then also, led to like a lot of people deeply resonating. And, you know, uh, if you're talking to everyone, you're really not talking to anyone specific, right? So it's the same thing. Like, I know I turned people off, but then I also found my forever people through that chapter. And yeah, and part of those forever people were men, you know, because like that's what I was putting out there. And yeah, I've had like my experience with stalkers and you know, just really weird things, like when I lived alone in Miami, like weird stalkery things and people trying to get into my I lived in a building where there were like 4 elevators, and each tower, they were called, each floor dropped you off at your apartment, and that's it. So it was kind of like a very private, secure place, but like people trying to get in there and leaving, like some people, anyways, it was just weird. But that's one of my favorite things about moving out here. It was like I got my autonomy, but not my autonomy, my anonymity. I'm like invisible here. And you know, I've been to the gym and gotten DMs and been like, "Oh my God, I just saw you at the gym." But like, it's not the same as in a major city, you know?
Mhm.
So I feel a lot safer here.
Yeah.
You know, which I guess is kind of relevant to the conversation. But
Yeah.
I kind of tangented off, but that's,
But you've experienced basically
context.
a degree of like your presence online
affecting
your safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I haven't. So that's why, yeah, I think it's, well, and so what's coming up for me is I'm just thinking about how important it is for us to sharpen our people radars as parents
Mm-hmm.
so that we can teach our kids how to do that too. Because online, you have to do it first of all. If we at some point want to have our kids be able to be online responsibly, that's going to be something we teach them, is the discernment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in person too, right? Like, because one thing you had mentioned is a lot of sexual predators are people you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to understand when something's off energetically, right? And when it's people, our friends saying, "Oh, she's so cute and beautiful," versus
A random guy at the
somebody
grocery
that's like,
store.
yeah, and some random guy at the grocery store, you can be like, "Oh, he's grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
He's just reminiscing." Or
Yeah.
be able to tell when they're not.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like, I haven't experienced the digital. Yeah, I barely exist on social media right now. So
Mm-hmm.
haven't experienced it the way you have. But when I was in our practice and we had hundreds of people coming into our office, that's something I feel like I got really good at, was being able to tell like which people were kind of,
Mm.
I was alone in a room with people for 30 minutes at a time. A lot of them are men. Half of them, I don't know what the percentage of our clients were women versus men, but pretty good split. And there were times where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna energetically, with my body
Yeah.
language
Yeah.
and my voice, tone of voice, set the tone,
Yeah.
because you're giving me creepy vibes,
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
And so just like, I'm so grateful for that now, having a kid, because I'm like, oh, okay, this is really helpful being out in the real world
Yeah.
for protection purposes,
Yeah.
and something I had brought into our conversations last week about just like the energy and the vibration around protecting our kids
Mm.
and how swept up we choose to be in it or not, is like honing in our nervous system imprint in how we move through the world, whether it's digitally or in person. And how do we not be constantly in fear with knowing what's out there,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there's strangers around us all the time, and also not being ignorant to the fact that there are people that have bad intentions. And so, yeah, so that's something that I feel like is something to practice as a parent and as a person,
Yeah.
is being open to tuning in to that skill, that the muscle of intuition.
Totally.
And it's
Totally.
not to say that you should rely on that, but I mean, if you're in a situation like that's all you have,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, and in order to do that, I feel like we have to be embodied
Mm-hmm.
and present and yeah, present, like not with our kids at the park scrolling,
Oh
but
my
like
gosh.
with our kids, and there's this, it's interesting, especially, you had said that I mentioned that the majority of sexual abusers are people and that was actually in our voice note conversation. So that's not something that we mentioned on the pod yet,
No,
but
yeah.
the majority of people who experience sexual abuse experience it by someone they know, a family member, a friend, someone that they see and know. And so it's something to think about as well, like when people say that they post for their families and their friends, well, that's another layer. But
Mm.
anyways, um, when we talk about being in our home and our neighborhoods, which you and I are both, let's get out of the house. Let's go to the park every day and let's, take a walk every day. We are out of our house every day. And it's just something like at this point, I'm aware that, and it's not a fear-based thing. It's an awareness. Like, I think it's just important to not walk through the world like it's all sunshine and rainbows. I think it's like, yeah, it is so hard to like delineate between awareness versus fear.
Mhm.
Um, but yesterday we were at the park. It's just like the awareness of, okay, this person sees me out of my house 5 days a week without my husband, with a
Mhm.
small child. Like, it's just something to be aware of. And yesterday there's this guy we see, an older man that we see with his dog. And whenever he sees us, if he's on the phone, if he's talking to someone, he makes it a point to come over, to end his conversation and come over and talk to us. And yesterday, he was asking me questions about her. And I was just like, okay, is he gathering information or is this reciprocal? And he was offering me information about he's a veteran and he has 2 kids and he grows plants in his basement. And so he was reciprocating personal information. And so my guard started to go down, but it's still like not entirely down. And one thing that I've come to realize is that I'm not living in a state of fear. I'm living in a state of awareness, which means to me, you are not innocent until proven guilty.
Mhm.
You are actually unsafe until it is established.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge shift from the way that I used to live in the world.
Hmm.
I used to just, if someone would talk to me like that, I would just be an open book and share and not even think about the potential dangers like that. And now I'm like you said, my body language, my eye contact, like he came over and started talking, I started putting the chalk away. I started packing up
Mm-hmm.
and like communicating like we're not here to talk to you, you know? And he's a perfectly nice man so far, but my nervous system says, not yet. I don't determine that you're safe yet, you know? And as women, I think this is super important to have this conversation. As women, we tend to be more people pleasy, you know, this energy of we want people to like us. We want to come across as kind and warm and gentle and feminine and whatever the other things that we've been conditioned to want to be perceived as. And when it comes to the safety of ourselves and our children, we have to have the courage to be discerning and put up boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, you know, I'm not just going to talk to you because you want to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here painting rainbows with my kid. Like, like, why are you in our, why are you in our energy right now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's like a big takeaway from me is like,
Mm-hmm.
you're not safe. And it's, you know, it's like the opposite of, yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, it is
Think about.
interesting because we used to have, like, just bringing it back in time, like, we used to have the protection of our village, right? And we used to have
Mm.
to, like, the like, environmental, geographical space in which, like, you're safe, right? But
And you knew everyone
now,
in your village as well.
exactly, yeah. And so now it's like, you're right, you don't know your neighbors,
No.
all your neighbors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so you walk outside and you're right, it's not like it's guaranteed safe.
Yeah.
And so it's a constant. But I love how you frame that, though. It's not like it's not like um it's not like it's unsafe everywhere, but it's not guaranteed safe.
Mm-hmm.
And so
It's an interesting line to walk.
yeah, yeah. But I love that. I love how you phrase that. That's super cool. Do you want to take it back to their digital footprint
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about
and
that.
like giving them the opportunity to create a digital footprint if they want one?
Yeah. Yeah. Or not. Which I think everyone has a digital footprint right now. And what's going to be cool in the future is actually not to have one.
Right.
You know how things, I mean,
Uh-huh.
everything is AI right now and everyone's on that train. And eventually, like, it's going to be uncool to use AI. But
I know.
anyways, things ebb and flow. But you had started to like frame there's the safety piece, there's the
Consent piece.
consent piece, and then there's also just protecting their digital footprint and like how they want to be perceived or not on social media or in the world. And if we do that for them, it takes some of their autonomy to be able to do that away. So I think it's just that, unless you have
Yeah.
other thoughts on it.
No, that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's really much else to dive into with it.
I guess there's like the piece of if you share completely unfiltered, like if, for example, we told the stories about potty training and breastfeeding and, you know, sleeping. But if we were to have shared a bunch of images of them tantruming or them learning to use the toilet, like then we're veering into a child feeling shame and a child feeling the parent-child trust being broken.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's that, but I don't think that's relevant to us, but maybe to the conversation.
Yeah.
And then there's one more piece I was gonna say. I guess like from like an influencer standpoint or a creator standpoint, just some people like essentially monetizing their children and you know, there's that whole conversation, but that's pretty niche. So
Yeah, it is. It's not the majority of like parents and moms.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's kids out there who have like YouTube pages, you know?
Yeah.
Like how old are they? Usually like 6. Like I feel like that's got to be the age. That's usually when like more conscious brainwaves come online is like 6, 7.
Mm-hmm. But someone modeled that for them. Like they didn't, no kid, unless their parent nurtured that thought or consumed a bunch of that type of content in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like a child growing up in the world being like, I want to be an influencer, unless someone either planted that or modeled
They've
it.
just seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just see it. There was some exposure to it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at more of these stats. What else you got for us?
Yeah. So this one's very interesting. 80% of parents think other parents overshare. They think other people are the problem, but not them.
Interesting.
You're the problem.
Well, that's projection.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Because if it doesn't seem completely right for you to share that, but I'm sharing, even if it's different. That's projection right there.
Totally.
Go to therapy.
There's a couple more with the privacy and safety. This one says 81% of parents use their child's real name online. 24% of parents have public profiles for their kids, I'm assuming. And then 1 in 6 parents say their child has experienced harm from posts.
I think that's the crazy shit when people make a profile for their children and it's public.
Yeah. That's a little strange.
Which I don't know if that's judgmental for us to say, but
True.
what is the intention of that?
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, and ultimately, I think it's a reflection, just to kind of like sum it up and take it and zoom out, I guess, because all these specific points are here for sure. It's a reflection of how we value our kids, how we value our relationship with our kids. I mean, just like, I feel like how you navigate anything as a parent is a reflection of what you value and what your philosophy is.
Yeah.
And so if you don't respect your kids' boundaries.
But that's the crazy thing, right? Because when your kids don't have discernment, you create your kids' boundaries.
Yeah. And I guess so that's a question is like how much autonomy do I maybe it's a control, like I wonder if there's something with parents who feel like more control, like they want to have more control over their kids, or if their like identity is attached to their kid.
I think that might be part of it right there.
And in that like molding and like kind of forcing them and fitting them into how they want to be perceived as a parent,
or they wanted to be
through their
perceived as a child.
Yeah. And so there's probably some deep psychology mixed in there, which is not right or wrong. It's just like, again, an opportunity
something to look at.
Yeah. Especially if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, that's me. There's no shame in it. It's just like everything can be an opportunity to self-reflect and refine and be okay with what you're doing and be like, no, like this is an alignment for me, or be like, oh my God, maybe there's other work to be done besides how it's expressing.
Totally. Yeah. The one thing that's always really helpful for me is the emotion of guilt. Like if I'm feeling guilty, I'm feeling guilty about putting a show on for Rhea while I cook because I just don't want to deal with it, right? That guilt is showing me that my actions are not in alignment with my values. And so just being aware of like that and listen, like there are times when I put a fucking show on and I'm like, I feel a little guilty, but also like I don't have the bandwidth and like this is what I need to do. Like I'm not, this isn't a conversation of like hard and fast right and wrong. It's just the emotion of guilt can be useful in that way. To reevaluate and realign your actions and your decisions with your values.
That's a really great tangible way to look at it. Yeah. 1 in 4 kids feel embarrassed by what their parents post.
Yeah.
And I wish I had more ages on these stats.
This is from Psychology Today. Let's see what they're saying about the age groups. I mean, I do know from like a teen perspective, my girlfriend Claudia, who challenged me about all this, she sees a lot of teens in therapy. And it's a huge part of like the trust building or breaking with parents is them posting So I think maybe teen, or what does it say?
This one says by age 9, children have strong reactions to what their parents are posting online about them,
Okay.
which feels about right because that's, again, if we're thinking about this developmentally, that's when they're getting to the where they're starting to form their own sense of identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a parent, like I do think maybe as your child gets to those more autonomous years, there maybe could be more intentional conversations around it, or a completely taking a back seat on what you're sharing of your kid.
Totally.
Because they're not toddlers anymore.
Yeah. One thing I will ask you, because this is something that feels very real to me, sharing Rhea as a 4-month-old versus sharing Rhea as a 24-month-old feels very different. As a baby, where she's still kind of like an alien, and like, they're just chunky aliens. Like, they're not really. And looking back, she did have personality traits coming through, but it's not. I feel like at that age, they're just such an extension of you, and they don't even look like themselves.
Yeah.
Like, but then once they actually start developing their facial features and their personalities, it feels like more to protect. And I don't know if I wonder if that has to do with more of the stakes being higher for if something would ever to happen to her, because she's more of a human. I know her more. I'm more attached to her. I'm more in love with her. Versus it being more palatable for me morally to post her as a child, an infant, versus posting her as a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point of differentiation, because when I was looking back at my Instagram, all my posts were mostly in that first year of his life.
Yeah.
When I feel like I was, he was just a baby going through like the regular developmental things of like his eyes not crossing anymore, and then his, figuring out he has hands, and
Yeah.
and that kind of, and you're right, it's not like they don't have personalities, but I think there was a level of like, it just felt like me
Mm-hmm.
posting, because I was, I just had, and so now I've noticed, like, I think some of why I have not been on social media the past several months is just because he is his own person, and like, there's definitely some of that. Like,
There is something there, right?
yeah, totally. Like, he is more to protect because he's actually his own person now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're not just like enmeshed in
Yeah.
baby mama, newborn / first year of life
Mm-hmm.
world, where everybody's experience are very different and unique, and also
The same.
but yeah, and so and for me, Travis and I both, my husband and I both are, we see Theo not as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we definitely see him already as who he's gonna become as a adult. I think a lot about like the man I'm shaping in him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that frame for me too is, I already do respect his sense of autonomy. And that's always something I've said, is autonomy. It's like one of my taglines.
Mm-hmm.
How can I nurture his autonomy? And so I think, that for me, that piece,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to what you're saying about them being 2-year-olds, is now more of an identity to protect, an innocence to protect, alongside of the fact that I also don't see him as a baby that I'm just like, oh, I'm sharing for him. It's like, how can
He has preferences.
He has preferences.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's his own person, and I want to respect that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do often think about when I see people's content of like sharing their kid going through a hard time emotionally. I'm like, oof, this kid is going through it. This is like big for this kid, like emotionally. And you're just like posting it because it's funny or entertaining or whatever it is to you. And the breakage in respect, and in the culture of like parent child, I like what you said. Like, we see him as an adult. And one thing I heard when I was pregnant, when I was trying to figure out like what's going to be my parenting philosophy, which I still don't completely have defined, but continually, like lately, I've been like learning about authoritative parenting, and I'm like, oh wow, there's actually a lot of good shit in here too, you know. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but and it's a cherry picking situation, right? Like I don't subscribe to one dogma, but what was I going to say? Oh, I heard, don't think of it like you're raising children, think of it like you're raising adults, and I was like, that's bars. That's hard to wrap my mind around. But when you think about like, yeah, making decisions for them, like completely posting their lives online or sharing a really tough emotional moment where actually your role is to help them learn a skill and to regulate, and you're just, I'm going to say, violating their privacy and their tender moment instead of being present with them, you're looking at it more like they're your property or they're yours versus you're a steward. One thing I love is this concept of when people say, this is not my land, I'm a steward of this land. Well, I don't take this land with me when I die, right? Like I'm keeping this land while I'm here, and, you know, then I'll return to the land. And I feel like these children are not ours, even though I love to say, this is mommy's girl, mommy's best girl. I love my girl. I love my baby. All these things, because there's such a level of like, you are the best thing I've ever seen, smelled, touched, tasted, heard. You're just everything to me that I'd love for you to be mine. But the truth is, you came of me. You are not mine. I am a steward of your soul right now.
Yeah.
And it is an honor and a privilege to be the steward of what I see as, you know, pure and perfect. And I like, yeah, I think part of like the decision for me is trying to protect that, you know, and like we said it in one of our last podcasts, because I'm re-listening to all the podcasts right now, but it's my turn to reference all the other podcasts. Yeah, like delineating this line of like what's perfectionism versus what's having high standards for yourself as a parent. And this is one thing that I'm like, I know I'm not going to get this perfect. And even sharing some of this here may cause, you know, a fissure in my relationship with my child. And also like, I'm willing to have that conversation with her and repair and alter my process in order to protect that. So I know I'm not doing it perfectly, but when it comes to like, yeah, just like protecting the way that I view her as her own human and believing the good in her, which goes back to, you know, many conversations we've had about Theo and his physicality, which, by the way, it's been so cool to witness him. We're kind of going to go off topic for a second, but it's just been so cool to witness him the past couple times that we've gathered, specifically at Ollie's birthday party, because it was so overstimulating. My daughter was 10 out of 10. And I could see there were so many times where Theo wanted to get on that vibration with her, which would have been him being physical, you know? And it's not because he's a bad kid. It's just like physicality is how he expresses himself. And so Rhea's screaming and laughing and baiting the fuck out of him. She was just baiting him into her vibration. And I just saw him going, and you would be like, Theo, and he just stopped. And there's like immediate, like, even without you saying things, there were times where he like had self-control. So it's been really beautiful to see you guys just be consistent and believe in his goodness, and that the way he was coping isn't a reflection of his soul and his potential.
Yeah.
You know, and just to see him come through.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
It's been cool to see him too. And yeah.
So emotional.
I know. I'm glad you said that, because I would not have been able to say that. Well, and just to see him and Rhea truly become friends And it's funny too, because I remember I said to you, I think once they become friends, like Theo's going to be protective of her. And he is, because he was not super friendly to our other little kiddo friends who were at the birthday party. I was like, okay, you have to be friends with other people too. Not just I know
Rhea.
you and Ray are besties. But
No, but him and Rhea are besties.
So yeah. It's honestly so fun to see them raise each other's vibration, because immediately Ryan was holding Rhea when you guys walked in to the party. And was it Travis I was holding? I think I was holding Theo, or Travis was holding Theo. And Theo sees her and he immediately I'm like, when do you ever do that? And so they're just so silly together.
They are so silly.
So it's just like
yeah.
and
then Rhea was just, I had to physically remove her from the ball pit. So I was like, I could see where it was going. Yeah. I was like, she's gonna bonk herself so fucking hard, and then we're gonna end in so much drama. So let's go breathe with Dad. Let's go touch grass.
I know. Let's go wind down.
You looked beautiful.
Thanks. So did you?
You wore heels. I was like, okay.
I wore them inside because I knew I was going to be able to take them off. Yeah. So I got inside. but
did you guys go out to dinner after?
No.
Okay.
We made burgers at home. Yeah, super low.
You guys made burgers?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know.
You guys are burger people.
I know.
We've started making burgers too since we went over your house, but
it's easy. Those fries, Ben and Jerry. No, not Ben and Jerry's. It's something.
They're
like They're fries and avocado oil fries.
Like Ben and Jim's or something like that.
Yeah. Gary and Jim.
Whatever. Let's see if there's anything else. Do you have anything
else?
Well,
the one thing I'm thinking about is more like, where are we going as a society with social media? Like, because you kind of talked about it in reference to like AI, and what's going to be cool is to not post your kid at all online eventually. We're going to swing the other direction. So I'm just like, I'm wondering with this in particular if there's going to be a dismantling, or if it will always remain. I mean, so many people have their businesses online now, so it's like,
but also think about it like in terms of, there's always a polarity swing. Like right now on social media, the past like 10 years has been really big into like authenticity culture, like cry online and share everything and be super fucking real and show up with pimple patches and all that shit. And now it's swinging towards create an identity, be aspirational, like don't be too vulnerable, create like a brand and then show up as that, even if it's not you all the time. It's like there's always a polarity shift that people are like, okay, that's oversaturated. Now let's do something else. And also, I feel like there is a split in our culture happening, society as a whole. There are people that are going back to like, okay, like let's go touch grass every day and let's walk barefoot and let's, drink bone broth and like go back to more ancestral primal ways. Mm-hmm. And then there are people that are like flying to Turkey to change the color of their eyes permanently and like getting like just becoming so augmented and fully embracing augmented reality and AI and technology as the way, and becoming more disconnected from the earth and ancestral primal ways. So I feel like there's gonna continue to be a split. And I think we fall into the camp of more towards returning to the earth, rewilding, while also fully embracing that we live in the modern world and we pick and choose the luxuries that are essential for us to, be our best selves. But yeah, so just bringing that question like into the framing of the duality that is going to continue to happen, So I think there's going to be people that get completely online and like, what's the movie? I can't think of it, but there's like a movie. It's with Florence Pugh and
somebody listening will know, but
she's like, it's kind of like Stepford Wives vibes where like she's in this perfect home and this perfect life. And then her consciousness starts to wake up and what it is like a massive video game where like they're all like vegetables, but
They're
their
like plugged
consciousness is
into,
going
yeah.
and like living in this alternate reality. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
And there's going to be
yeah.
people like their consciousness is going to be in video games. And then there's going to be people that are like, no, we're going to like go live in the earth. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
just like
true.
where yeah, and those are going to be the polar extremes,
Totally.
and the bulk of people are going to be trying to find their place in the middle. But
But they exist. Like, I forget that there are people who are literally trying to plug in their consciousnesses into AI.
Yeah.
And live multiple like realities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
go
then
live in Mars, and like I'm like, what? This
I know,
planet's
yeah.
fucking spectacular. Why are we trying to leave it? Let's just protect it, please.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're right. There's probably there is a split, and there will continue to be one, and then there's a mass majority in the middle ground. Yeah. Do you have a lot of family videos and pictures from growing up? Did your family like document that?
A lot of pictures, not as many videos as I'd like, but I know you said your dad was big
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, I have a ton of family videos and pictures. He had like the camcorder on his shoulder,
Yeah.
and walking around. I grew up in Florida.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
When did you leave
Disney
Florida?
when I was 6.
Oh, wow. So yeah. Okay.
Most
Cool.
of my unconscious years my subconscious brainwave years were in Florida. So I don't remember that much. But yeah, we have a ton
But
of
your
family
body
videos.
remembers.
Yeah, I know. Something remembers. But yeah, so I was just bringing that up because it is cool. I love looking back at family videos and pictures. And so I think that's a good point too to remember is it's like, it's still great to take pictures and videos of your kids. It's just like the finding the line that feels good for you in terms of sharing it. And also, if it's on your phone, is it accessible? I guess that's the last point I have is like, if it's on your phone, even if you're not posting it, like somebody could hack you.
Yeah.
Like it's all, it's in the cloud. Like there's data centers all over the world now just with massive like servers of data.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It's kind of
like
crazy.
the cloud is actually a tangible thing.
It's not a cloud.
But yeah, so
yeah, it's a good point.
I know.
It's a good point. But then you start going into like, for me, that goes into like too much hypervigilance.
Yeah, exactly.
Where like when I'm in the moment and enjoying and I just want to take out my camera and snap her, that I'm just like filtering every action of my life through the potential of fear and danger. And it's at a certain point, you have to just trust. I don't know. We'd love to hear your thoughts if you guys have any.
Totally. I mean, that sounds like woo, but there's people who, and I respect it. I really do. There's people who fully believe and trust in that energy, like they put their belief in God, spirit, whatever, that they are safe and protected.
Yeah.
They don't lock their doors.
Yeah.
And some people may think that's ignorant, and to a point, maybe it is, but like, I don't know. And there's that level of allowing, there to not be any fear or anxiety around it, and just being okay. If something were to happen, they'd be okay with it, probably, you know? So I don't know. It's just,
I mean, I think that's how I used to be, is just completely trusting
but was
in
it
the goodness
ignorant?
and
it was like conscious kind of just like, I'm good. Or it was before you had a child too. I feel like that changes things.
I mean, having a child and just like the stakes.
Yeah.
The stakes. I mean, it's just,
because you're like not as important now as your child in a way, right?
Yeah. I mean, I used to live my life in a way where I was like, if I die tomorrow, I'd be fine. Yeah. Now that I have a kid, when I'm driving, I'm like I can't die. Yeah. I can't die. Like, I don't want to do that to my kid. Right. There's too much to, so there is that like filter of stakes being higher.
Yeah.
And yeah, what that brings into the thoughts, but
yeah,
I do believe in that. I mean, that's the power of manifestation. It's like, I'm going to believe this is possible, and I'm going to believe this is true, and I'm going to center all my thoughts around it happening, and works.
And also not be ignorant.
I know. It's like with people that think about the dangers of the world are more susceptible to the dangers of the world is basically that line of philosophy, right? Yeah. Like that line of thinking is like, if you think about getting hit by a car a lot, there's a higher chance of you getting
You-
hit by a car.
Yep.
Versus not thinking about cars at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I know.
Oh, God.
But yeah, this is, I feel like
Juicy one.
a juicy one, and also like a mind-boggling one, constantly in process one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If anything continues to come through, like, we can always just check in about it and continue unfolding it on the pod, because I feel like this is pre-launch
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and feelings. And luckily, we're calling in a community of conscious, intentional, heart-centered, thoughtful mothers, as we're trying to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so it feels like that community is going to be, we're going to want to protect each other and each other's children versus like, modeling and calling in all sorts of people and vibrations. So
yeah,
I feel somewhat in a bubble
safe
with it,
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is pre-launch, so we'll see how it goes after we launch.
Yep, we'll find out.
We shall.
We shall find out.
One thing is for sure. We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. We're here for it.
Okay. Well, this was lovely, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.